prior to COVID, we started looking at the data on our found animal reports at the Austin Animal Center. Our intake had taken in about 14,000 animals over the counter that were healthy strays that didn't need to be in the shelter. So when we looked at our found animal report, we wondered what had happened that made those animals not come into the shelter. What had the public done to help us not intake approximately 1,800 animals? That's based on about 150 a month average of found animal reports filed. So when they file a report, we give them some basic information on how to find that animal's home. The animal's given an A number, and they can post information about that found animal, including photos of it, and it'll show up on our found animals on our website. So they never get into the shelter. So we sent out a data survey, and we started it with October and went to March, I believe March 9th or March 6th. What we found was 86% of the animals are found in the area where the finder either lives or works, which we already knew. That correlates with data we have from animal protection. When the animal protection officers in Austin return an animal, they report the distance it was from where it was found or where they picked it up from to where it actually lived, and it's usually less than 1/10 of a mile. This is an amazing one. 51% of the people out of 210 responses found the owners. That's an incredible return to owner rate. Every shelter dreams of having a return to owner rate that high. So when I saw that, I thought, wow, they're amazingly good at finding the owners. So now let's go find out, how did they do this? Out of 107 responses, 29, almost 30% use the microchip. So microchips are hugely valuable. If you're not doing free microchip events, it's worth its weight in gold. If you think about what you're paying for a microchip, most shelters pay somewhere between $3 and $5 versus, for us, it's $41 a day to keep an animal. I'd much rather give it a $5 microchip. We do the upload automatically to the company, and it's also kept on our Chameleon database. So 29% of those people use the microchip. 27% use a program called Nextdoor. And Nextdoor has a robust use here in Austin and in the rural areas. It's used a lot for buying and selling things, but the nice thing with Nextdoor is it's geographically specific. It's specific to the neighborhood. So that would make sense that people are using it successfully because they're finding pets where they live, not only where the pet lives, but where the people live, and then they're posting it on their Nextdoor, or they're finding reported lost pets posted on their lost and found page for Nextdoor. The next question was, when did you find the owner? This is also significant because 44% find it the first day, 20% find it the next day. It is common practice because of our call volume that we do not run stray confined pets the first day they come in. If somebody was to call and say, hey, I found this animal and I need it picked up, we quite often don't pick them up till the next day or the day after. So this supports that idea because it's showing that 65% of the pets are going home within 2 days, back to where they live. The animal's distance from home, we were curious. We used rather simplistic measurements, but you can see of the 23 responses, 34% of them, it was a few houses away. This also supports the return to owner data I'm getting from animal protection officers in the field. This shows most animals that we interact with are less than 1,000 feet from home. 26% are a few blocks away, which again, if you look at 1,000 feet, it could easily be a street or two over, depending on how big the blocks are and how your city's laid out. Dogs that had microchips or pets, these could be cats because it's dogs and cats. Almost 35% of these Good Samaritans took these pets that they didn't know, put them in their car and drove them to a vet clinic. So the idea that they would take these unknown owned animals or unowned animals and take them to the vet clinic is pretty profound. I'm quite impressed. This is also profound because the week that the government shut down due to COVID was also the week we were supposed to have a press conference about our new Microchip scanning initiative. We have 70 scanners in Austin Fire Department stations, every Austin Fire Department station, and Austin Park and Rec centers. So people that find a pet can literally walk down the block to the fire station or to the recreation center and scan the pet for microchip, and then we have an information sheet on what to do next. It gives them the numbers of the big microchip companies and the logins to the websites and whatnot. So then what happened to the pets? These are pets that didn't find homes. So 42% of those that were not able to find the owner kept the pet, which is, again, fairly profound. That's pretty amazing that the people, the public, care so much about these animals that when they couldn't find the owner, rather than bring them to the shelter, they left them at home or kept them home. The other big one is 24% found a new home for the pet. So, you know, we're hoping that all these animals were scanned for microchips. It would appear that most of them are. And then 18% came to the shelter. But again, of 100 responses, that 18% is only 19 animals. So what does this mean? A couple of things it means is that you really have to know what you're looking for, and don't just dig up data to dig up data. What we'll do next with this data is figure out how can we better serve the public. This was all done, all this was done without our intervention or very little intervention from us, you know, just some information on a website. So if we can move forward and help the public be even more successful in, first off, not letting their pets run loose, that's the bigger goal, keep their pets safe and keep them at home. But also, we know Good Samaritans are going to stop. They don't want pets to get hit by cars. They don't want them to get lost. So they're jumping in and they're helping with these pets. We can now help the public understand that many pets are taken from very close to their home because we have the data that supports that. And I can also change a little bit. I can fortify how we're already responding to stray confines and hopefully help those people that have been willing to take an animal into the home. We can then share this data with them to help them understand how to better find it. I'm a big fan of not reinventing the wheel. And if something is working like Nextdoor, let's try to work with Nextdoor to figure out how they can be even more robust in how they help us. Again, 27% of the people that responded to the survey of the 107 responses, 27% use Nextdoor. I personally use Nextdoor, and has big use in my neighborhood. I'm in a rural area, and I think the last time I checked, there were 31 or 32 pets listed on my personal Nextdoor area of people that just post pets like, hey, this is my cat, my dog. If you see it out, let me know. I'll come get it, whatever. So there's a lot of uses in that, and we need to figure out as communities, how do we support these Good Samaritans and these other social networking things? How do we make them work the best for us? With Austin Lost and Found Pets and another group called Trappers, we're working with these volunteer groups to try to help us mitigate intake. It's not that we don't want to take in animals. We just don't want to take in animals that don't need to be in the shelter. If the animal is in front of its house, but in harm's way, then by all means pick it up. If it's we don't want anything getting hit by a car, we don't want anything getting attacked by another animal. But a lot of times this is just a matter of us, animal protection, or the animal services offices, making contact with those owners, let them know that their dogs shouldn't be out. You know, there are city or county ordinances and codes. And a lot of times we can intervene and not ever have to impound something just by having a conversation and sharing, you know, educational materials with people. So we're going to move forward trying to figure out how we can best use this data to, again, mitigate that 14,000 animal intake that came into the shelter last year. And we want to keep our shelter open in such a way that we are sheltering the animals that truly need to be sheltered. And if we do have to shelter somebody's loved and cared for pet, that it be for as short amount of time as possible, and that, you know, we can get our own RTO rate from in-house, you know, up to 50%, and maybe this RTO rate in the field would be even higher, you know, maybe 75%. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out to me. It's mark.sloat at austintexas.gov, or you can obviously reach out to American Pets Alive and the learning academies that we run through those. So again, use this data however you can for your city. And if it gives you ideas for, you know, what you should be looking for data, don't just troll, mine data to mine data, actually be doing it for a reason. And the reason we did it was we wanted to see what happened with these animals, and how do they get it resolved. So stay safe, and appreciate your time. Thank you.